Ruth McCracken and Trisetta Washington, two top-notch career and business strategists, are here to help you defy standards and break boundaries. Join them as they share powerful insights that have already impacted thousands of people and will have a major impact on your career, life balance, and business.
Welcome, welcome. Great day, beautiful beings. I am really excited. Great day, Trisetta. We are now here in, oh my gosh, episode 41 at the Breaking Boundaries. For those who are coming in, yes, you're seeing a special added guest, and we'll talk about who this special guest is. I'm really elated, really excited. Just for you all to know, it's Quay Hollenden, but we'll go into more details as to what we're looking to unfold. But meanwhile, you know the drill. Go ahead and share and like. Let's go ahead and disrupt the algorithm on all of our platforms as we're wanting to go ahead and convey this message on what we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks now. Well, 2 weeks, and this is the third week. We're wanting to unfold the growth mindset and how to deal with a variety of multiple managers with their personalities, and how to be able to maintain a very organic relationship without jumping ship. And we'll go into more with our special guest because of her background. But before we go into that, Trisetta, I haven't seen you in a moment. So let's go ahead and let the people know how to get connected, how to stay tuned. And I'm sure you all know already more about us. If you're coming in for the first time, definitely, and you may want to go ahead and check out our profiles, get more dive into what we do individually as leaders. But for the topic today, I definitely want you all to kind of grab a pen and paper, because you may want to even go back and press replay. What do you think? I think so too.
Yeah, absolutely. And two, we are very excited to share with you all, breaking boundaries. Actually, I don't think we've told this story, Ruth. Breaking Boundaries actually started as just a 3-week live stream series that Ruth and I decided to do together. And we just enjoyed it so much. We kept going. And then next thing you know, it has turned into this whole visual podcast, and we are expanding again. So our YouTube channel is live. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, head over to, not right now, but when we're done, head over to YouTube and make sure that you subscribe, hit that bell so that you are notified when we have new episodes that hit over there. But not only that, we have now created a LinkedIn page for the podcast.
Absolutely.
So we need you all to come and like and follow that page, because what we want to start doing is moving our live stream from our personal page over to the Breaking Boundaries page. Unfortunately, we have to have a certain number of followers before we can actually do that. So help us out. Head over there to just do a little search for Breaking Boundaries.
We'll add it somewhere here in
the
description as well.
Yeah, we can add it in the comments. We can drop that in the comments where the link to it, so that you can go ahead and easily like the page, so that we can continue to grow. And we also have some other amazing things that we're working on behind the scenes. So stay tuned, because we're going to be doing a live event, and pretty soon, I don't want to tell that too. I don't want to tell everything. Well, just stay tuned. Tuned.
Stay tuned, stay connected. I think this is a perfect time to definitely now segue as to what do we have unfolded, because we've heard from you all. We kept our ear to the ground. I speak to many high performers, so does Trisetta, and as well as Quay, when it comes to how to balance, how to not fight or even run away from not getting familiarized or getting comfortable or accustomed to different type of multiple managers working with a whole bunch of leaders. Maybe you have one direct leader and multiple other functional departments where you're now building relationship, and how to see if your personality mesh with theirs, for the better lack of term. So with that being said, let me go ahead and introduce you all Quay Hollenden. Not only that she's a very dear friend, a peer, we've met each other, and she has been on Stumping Grounds and in different platforms. She is not only a speaker, she's also the founder of the Wealth Executive Rebalance Strategist and Wellness Lifestyle Expert. She's also specialized in what is called as Candida, which is gut health, I'm assuming. she's not also just really great with working on a department of defense. She used to also be in the military. She's also certified as a personal trainer and integrated neutral nutrition and health coach, which is followed by her passion. She's been doing this since childhood, and to staying fit and in staying in a great, healthy way, in a multifaceted way in her business, and empowering hundreds of other women to be able to get rebalanced, get them to refine their health and their wellness, and as well as their work-life balance, all in a lump sum. I'm going to pause for the cause, and let's go ahead and give her a warm welcome to the Breaking Boundaries, letting her know that it matters to us, that we want to pave the way forward to you all on how to manage or how to even be in the same environment with multiple other leaders or managers or supervisors or anyone that you're having to work and co-create with when there's multiple personalities, and how to adapt to that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Quay to the floor. Hey, friend. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, nice to see you, Ruth
Welcome
and
to the show.
Tressetta. Thank you. Thank you for having me on today. I'm so excited for our conversation. Looking forward to it.
I am too.
I am
And,
too.
we have a very common ethos in what the work that we do. There's a lot of synergy there. So, I'm all about life balance and health and wellness and all that kind of stuff. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We really want to talk about, all three of us are leaders. Like, we've been in leadership roles, and, we know what it's like to be both the follower, if you will, the staff member or the employee, as well as the leader. And there's so many different, when we're talking about develop your personal development, talking about growing professionally and growing in your career, you have to, as you start, if you've never been in leadership and you start to kind of shift into those roles, balancing that out and really figuring out how to manage up as well as down can be quite challenging, because there are so many different personalities at play. And so today we're really wanting to dive into some of the pitfalls, right? Some of the pitfalls that could come, that can come up, and how you avoid that so that you can continue to grow, right? You want to grow and develop as a leader, as opposed to abandoning ship.
Right.
And I don't know, Ruth, do you have anything in particular you want to?
Well, let's just dive in. I'm ready to get started. Are you?
Right.
I think it's about the time. I have a couple of them already jotted down, and I know. And let me know in the comments if you all can definitely see this to be valuable, and this the way we're wanting to allow you to be able to manage and be able to build those genuine relationships and not feel as though you're being superficial because you just don't know how to balance on dealing with maybe different personalities. Let's just call it for what it is. So what ways, let's talk about it, Quay. Are you ready to talk about it, girl?
I'm ready to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yes. What ways, the question I want to ask is, what ways to identify the manager type that you may have early on? Like, what ways can you kind of go in as to what type of manager do I have early on, so you can identify it consciously, so that you know what ways can I now adapt to that person, not becoming someone different, but what ways can one identify, like, okay, this is the type of personality that I'm being invited to or being presented to. I'm hoping I'm making myself clear. It's coming out the way I think it should. So let me know how you want to break this down to our audience, because I too have been there, and many of us probably can relate on how do I identify? How do I identify that?
Well, at first, I think it's very important that one, yourself as a leader, like where you are, and then identifying who you're working with. I think it's very important that you are in an environment, hopefully you're in an environment where everyone belongs and there's a relationship, right? Because in the midst of confusion, it's hard to have that clarity on who everyone is, right? So I'm in that situation right now. We have new leadership, and managers are changing, and you can feel some people don't like change, right? So are you flexible? And it's very important that I'm a Gallup Strengths coach. So I really look at people's strengths, like what's your talent? What are they bringing? So instead of looking at your colleagues as competitors, looking at them as someone that you can collaborate and work together as a team. So I identify, one, are they an extrovert or introvert? Right? I'm an extrovert. So my leader may be an introvert, so I may have to come a different way, in approaching them because my extrovert may be a little bit too much. And just also being cognitive of like, how do they move? Like, what is their style? Are they a type A where everything is structured, organized, things like that? Or are they like all over the place? Like it's just organic. One of my leaders, he would have a whole bunch of things on his desk, but could find exactly what you were talking about. So I think it's one, knowing who you are and what you're bringing to the table as a leader, and knowing your talents and how you can thrive in certain environments, and then really coming together and recognizing what that leader, how they move, so then you both can come together as a team to be more productive and have success in the mission.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. I like that you started out by talking about like knowing who you are as leader. Right. And in order for us to really interact with the world just in general, but especially in the workplace, if we don't know our own work style, our own leadership style, and we do have aspiring leaders that watch our podcast, right? So they are not necessarily in a leadership role, but I want you all to understand that you're still, even though you're not in the role, you can still be a leader, right? So, okay. Right, because honestly, and I'm sure you've seen this from your military background too, Quay, it's like you're a leader before they tell you you're a leader. It's because the leadership skills are already being evidenced in your work, and that's hopefully, I know it's not always the case, but that's hopefully why you were promoted into a leadership role to begin with. And so it is really, I think that is a really valid point to really be mindful of what your own style is, and then being aware of the different other types of leadership styles so that you can mesh those together, hopefully, or at least find ways to kind of bridge the gap when you have those different leadership styles.
Let's talk about that. You mentioned, are you about to jump in as far as the leadership styles? Because how do one know that?
Well, I just want people to know, I was a military spouse for 27 years. So yes, I was in the military, right? Military spouse that held different roles in government and corporate sector. So yes, different leadership styles. Tons of different leadership styles. I just want to make sure everyone knew that.
Yeah. I know.
So what I was going at was, not to interrupt you, was because you mentioned something, Trissetta, and I think a lot of people may want to park there when I'm hearing, and it may sound cliche, but let's identify that as well. Let's go in on what are the leadership styles. How do I know whether or not if my individual personality may be able to adapt or evolve with this leadership style that I'm being introduced to? It may be your first tango, or it may be where you've had it multiple times and just didn't know what ways to develop or adapt to that individual or that leader or that manager. Now, how do you identify? How do you know? What are they? Can we identify some?
Well, you do have like we can say military leadership style, where everything is structured, where there is a hierarchy, right? It's from down up. Is there a lot of from top down? Not, you got the top down where you take direction, but do you have that communication where it's up? Another leadership style is, like I was addressing before, type A. Type A leaders, they're under two: responsibility. They have their goal, they have their mission, they're ready to go. And people that work with them, they don't give guidance, but they hope that their team that's with them, that they can figure it out, right? I'm gonna give you enough, that you can, this is the job, and then you figure it out, and you need to ask the question because I'm on to the next thing. Another leadership style, I'm trying to think of another leadership style.
Servant leadership has kind of entered the
Yes.
scene here. I don't know. I'm
Let's
sure
talk
it's
about
been
that.
around, but I feel like the term servant leadership is relatively new.
You're hearing that more and more though now. I feel that now that people are getting in the realm of work-life balance, they're realizing that being a servant leader, that's more healthier for them. And so I'm starting to hear the servant leader a lot more, which I look at that. I like that term better than the other terms that are out there.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the different challenges that when someone coming in as a new member or they're part of a team and they're now wanting to evolve in this project or be a team member within this growing team, how do they know whether or not if it's maybe an individual development that they need to seek within themselves versus when they now wanting to see how am I able to collaborate with this person? What ways can that individual maybe see themselves being able to adapt into that environment versus, like Tracetta and I said earlier, jumping ship? What form of strategies or what ways can we help them overcome some of those challenges? Number one, do I need to go and do a development plan for self? How do I identify that? And how do I know that maybe the direction that I need to tackle first?
Well, if someone's just coming into the fold, I would hope that they would have a conversation with their leader to even know what is one, the expectations, right? And to see how they can be an asset to the team. So there may be some gaps in their career that they need to go on an IDP, individual development plan, right? So that way they can look at the training. Is the training available here? And then if it's not available in-house, are you going to take the initiative to find it elsewhere and hope that the company can pay for it, which you don't see much of that, anymore. Back in the day, I used to be able to go on training all the time, but you don't see that anymore, right? Or are you going to invest in yourself because you're trying to level up? And I think that's really where what you and Tracetta is really talking about, the growth mindset. Are you going to be in this comfort zone and stay in this comfort zone and just go by the wayside and just, leave it a status quo? Or are you going to have that growth mindset and say, I'm going to invest in myself because I want to make myself a better person. I don't want to be in the comfort zone anymore. So I think you need to find out what you need to do to become a better person, to be the whole of the group. So it needs to be where you belong, because I feel a lot of people don't have a sense of belongingness in their team. And so they stand out on the wayside. So when they have that sense of belongingness, then they have that drive that they want to grow because they want as collectively to grow. So I really believe it comes down to an individual wanting to grow, finding out where they could grow, where they could level up, and then go after it and ask the questions, so then where to aspire to grow in the company.
I could concur. What's your thoughts around it? Because I think a lot of people, Tracetta, you may have a different angle with the leaders that come to us or to me. When they come, they say, Ruth, I'm pretty much spread thin here because I'm being bombarded with a lot of tasks and responsibility because I have someone who may be very task driven versus being compassionate on whether or not what ways, like what Tracetta mentioned, as far as being a servant leader. So it's when you're in a position where you're not knowing how to ask or not knowing how to even come out of stuff, because if you do ask, you don't want to be in jeopardy of losing your role or again extending to being superficial. Let's be honest, because I know for sure when I used to work in corporate and having to work with a variety of managers and knowing that everyone is unique in their own way of style and how they may say, yes, what goals can you have? And some may not be goal driven. They just meet with you only one time a year. And that's when they talk about your goals then. And it was like, well, I didn't know I had something that I had a drive or some kind of process to go through, because a lot of people look for their leaders to hold them accountable. A lot of people look for their leaders to help develop them on what is that roadmap to the next level of my career. But guess what? A lot of people are becoming more conscious, becoming more aware that there is bigger and better for me outside of what I'm doing on my mundane day-to-day activities. So that's where I want us to kind of just bring the limelight. Okay, so now that I'm being overwhelmed and I feel as though there's not a sense of belonging, although there is a sense of belonging, but am I being looked upon as a worthy asset? And seeing what's my development plan look like? Because it sounds like what we were talking about earlier is, let's talk about the individual walk, but how do they want to approach it to where it's not in their environment and feel kind of hesitant or afraid to bring it up because it's not something already accustomed in where they're at today in the workplace? Who can relate? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in their workspace, they have a relationship with someone, right? And I believe that's where mentorship would come in, where someone, your confidant, everybody has a confidant at work. I don't care if it's not in the workspace. You have someone that you can call, that you can, let it out, and tell them exactly how you feel and get that guidance on how to navigate. I had to personally do that myself with my leader, because I truly felt like we were not on the same sheet of music. I have been in, leadership roles for years, and I just felt like we were not in synergy at all. And it bothered me. And now, knowing my talents, I know why it bothered me, because one of my talents is harmony. I like everything to be, just harmonious, no chaos. And even though we got the job done, I just felt like we were not meshing. And I think that's important, if you can get everyone meshing together, because it does bring that synergy. It does bring where you can grow. So I went to one of my confidant mentors, talked to her, and basically I had to get the voice and let her know, I don't feel that we are working together on the same sheet of music. And I just expressed how I felt. And do you know, she took onus of that. And she said, you're right. And so that pivot, that me being very open, I think people need to be very open about what they want. Leaders are really good at telling you what they want. But what about, we all are unique. We all have our own, strengths that we can bring to the table. We need to voice that, and you'd be surprised. That pivot has made such a difference in my relationship with my leader. And so now things are awesome, because I truly feel if your work, we spend a lot of time at work. And if if you're not feeling well at work, it trickles into other areas in your life.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you there, that it's important to have those conversations, even if it's uncomfortable, but especially when you have the situations where you have clashing leadership styles or clashing competing leadership styles. I know I shared with Ruth, I don't remember if it was yesterday or last week, we were talking and I was sharing with her a story about my last role and how my supervisor and I had very different leadership styles, especially as it related to kind of preparation, preparing it and putting things in place, creating systems and processes to ensure smooth operations. And there was a lot of conflict there, because we were like complete opposites in our styles. So what kind of things would you suggest, or what do you think would be great for situation where you do go to your leader, right? You do go to that person and express kind of where you are, but it's because of their personality, it's more received as a threat or as a an attack as opposed to it being what you genuinely went to do, which is to bridge a gap? How would you handle that?
Well, how I would handle that is I would still be trying, and I've been in this same situation, and it can become very toxic.
About it.
I,
Yes.
I have literally been in, not the situation I was telling you earlier, but in that similar situation, and it got to a point that I had to bring other people in. Had to bring in
that you don't want to
like
keep
a
doing things
mediator.
alone. When I hear other people, let's identify who are those folks that maybe could be of value and can actually be an asset, or just a confidant, like I was hearing being described earlier, as a resource to help kind of help amend some of these friction or helps minimize some of this constraint. So making it more easeful, because the whole thing is we want to make sure what ways can we work together without having to feel as though that someone has to get a pink slip. We're not looking for that. We're looking for ways, where can we move forward? How can we move forward from here? Right?
So, I mean, and let's be real, sometimes it may mean either that person or you need to go in another department. It may come down to that, to ease the friction that's going on. But if you bring both people to the table and bring like someone from HR, let's just say HR, because it could be another manager that's in the department. It can be a lot of different people, but you can bring someone in HR, just a mediator, just to air things out. And then from there, have steps on, okay, well, where are we going to move from here? Or where are we going to move from here so that we can work together? And then I think you need to have timelines, like, okay, let's come back in 60 days, 90 days. How are we working together? Start communicating. Communication is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And just start communicating on, okay, we're doing well. How, is there something that I could do better? You could do better, and just start trying to come up with a plan, because you both are bringing something to the table, and and the team needs you both. So how can you do that? And I think if you start having goal milestones on what you should, how you're working together, we would hope that, at the end of the, day, that everything will work out, right?
Absolutely. So you see how we kind of went, and let's kind of drive this home for a lot of folks, because now they're hearing the strategies, identifying some of the challenges on what personalities that they can see being conveyed out of their managers, and how do they be able to develop or maintain a flow so that they can continue to wake up in the day or come out of bed and still find themselves saying, you know what, I'm still going to have a great day, but not feel as though they're being captive in a cage because of certain variety of personalities and multiple managers that they may have relationship with within the same organization, without losing themselves or without having to feel burnout, or maybe go outside the doors of their companies when the company might be a really great company. Let's address the elephant in the room and be organically ways of how can we develop that. So I love the fact that we talked about what ways can we identify the type of leaders that may be part of your fold or part of your actual interaction and engagement with your team projects. We talked about what ways you can now see how to leverage some mentors and confidants, those individuals who you can use as a sounding board, so that you're not alone in this process. Because your health matters, yes, your mental, your psyche matters. So you want to be able to how to voice it so that it doesn't impact your body, it doesn't impact your mindset, and you want to leverage that. So what practice can we kind of leave them with as an action item so that they can start with just implementing or taking small steps to getting there?
Okay, when you were talking about the impact, more importantly too, is your confidence, right? Because we all know, we all have worked, we all have, worked hard to get in leadership roles, or you're aspiring to be a leadership role, so you belong there. So you definitely want to have healthy boundaries in place so that you don't lose that confidence in yourself. And that could be just every day. So you want to get up in the morning and doing affirmations and saying, you know, I'm going to have a good day. I belong here. I'm a leader, whatever it looks like for you, because we're all unique. And then just go into that workspace with the mindset that it's going to be a good day. Yeah. And sometimes you may have to walk away. Let's just be real. Sometimes you may have to walk away. If it gets to be too stressful, sometimes you have to get and walk away and just breathe. So then that you don't become in a reactionary, like when the communication comes out, you're not being reactive, right? You've been able to let that go and be able to work together in a harmonious way. You know, the thing is to try to work together, and outside those walls, if you know you don't get along, but to try to find, you know, peace and harmony in the workspace. So I would say it's a mindset thing for sure. Yeah. And you have the choice to keep yourself happy. Don't let anyone steal your joy, right? So, and I believe when you know who you are and the talents that you bring, yeah, that'll help you to stay the course, because it's not about them. Yeah. It's about one person, right, that we serve.
I love it. Let's go ahead and give a round of applause. Thank you so much for taking the time to really unfold on what ways they can leverage on just adapting and becoming familiar and really giving themselves permission to how to address some of the conflicts that may happen, or not just the conflicts, but the constraint of, I don't know if we're able to be in the same room and co-create with one another, just because the individuals are strong and extreme with their sense of who they are. But when it comes together collectively, there may be a crash. They may be two Mack trucks just coming head on. And what ways can we not make it to be that way, where you aren't? So I love the fact that you are sharing with them, listen, it's going to be really getting to know who you are mentally. What's your mindset? Being able to affirm yourself. Let us know, is this beneficial for you all? Let us know in the comments that what ways have this definitely given you some identifiers that I need to address this. I may need to voice it by getting connected with a mentor. A lot of times we try to tackle things alone. Why? Because of the human self, the human part of us that we are, maybe from our upbringing. Maybe we didn't have a social ways of knowing who are certain experts outside of realm of our department, reaching out to human resources, or perhaps leveraging some peers who can relate and say, hey, I've gone through this and this is what I've done as certain practical ways, or even leveraging certain resources online, or if your job may not have it, let's talk about what ways you can maybe enroll in so many other free elements out there. I don't know if YouTube can be your best friend, Google University, YouTube University, and even comment below. Let us know what has been some of your challenges, and we can definitely take that and roll with it on our other upcoming episodes. Meanwhile, let's give a hands and some fires to our guest, Quay. Quay, thank you so much for taking the time to really involve with us at the Breaking Boundaries, really excelling on the growth mindset that they don't have to do it alone. They don't have to do it afraid. They can leverage their voice, increase and elevating their confidence so that they know how to maintain multiple ways of managers and their personalities that comes along with it. Without further ado, have an amazing day, everybody. And until next time, enjoy, and let's see you all on the other side. Do not forget to share and subscribe. Like you said, like Trisetta shared with you all earlier, we've already launched our Breaking Boundaries podcast business page on LinkedIn, and we just need at least a minimum of starting off 150. We have already our platform and collectively already over 10,000 plus followers and those who are connection. We just want you all to go ahead, let us disrupt the algorithm together so we can take this off of our personal pages and move it over into our business platform. Until next time, everyone, stay blessed and let's inspire. Let's continue to break boundaries, and bye for now.
Join and subscribe with career strategist Ruth McCracken and business strategist Trisetta Washington to the Breaking Boundaries podcast each week. You too can experience the limitless potential of rewriting rules and creating an extraordinary future for yourself.